Hello everyone, I'm your lovely host Becca and welcome back to Everlasting Summer. So, last time we left in our episode, we met this guy, and we don't really know who he is. He looks familiar, he seems familiar, which, to be honest with you, he does make me think of my character a little bit, like they have the same hairstyle in a way. I don't know if they have the same hair color, I gotta rethink about that one, but they both don't show their face, so I guess instant main character, which when I first saw them, they did give me a heart attack. I was like, oh my god, why does he not have eyes? When a character does not have eyes, it freaks me out immediately because I'm like, that's not normal. But anyways, let's continue. The first place to visit was the bus stop. After all, this is where it all began. The road was empty as always. Only small dust tornadoes were occasionally visible on it. I was ready to turn around and go back to camp, but then I heard someone whisper. Don't trust him. Someone was behind the monument. Pioneer was sitting there with his back to me, and once again the voice seemed strangely familiar. Who are you? I took a few steps towards him. Stop, don't come any closer. For some reason I froze in my tracks. From somewhere deep inside, an assurance came to me and I understood that I shouldn't argue with him. Alright, I'll stay here. Have you seen him? Talked to him? He asked nervously. Who are you even talking about? He was dressed in a Pioneer uniform. You're dressed in a Pioneer uniform. You know who. And I definitely did know. He was talking about the weird Pioneer I saw earlier. Yes. I answered a few moments of silence. What did he tell you? Pioneer asked in a pleading tone. Nothing, really. Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do? Threaten you? No, nothing like that. Of course he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone, or more likely he is alone, but you may meet many pioneers who look like him. And what about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from? You will understand in time. Just remember the most important thing is to find the exit. All of a sudden a strong gust of wind came through, ripping leaves from the trees and throwing an old paper bag into my face. Shielding myself, I averted my eyes. When I looked back at the monument, the Pioneer was already gone. At that moment, I was overwhelmed by fear. Real, almost tangible fear. I remember being scared during my first hours at this camp, but back then everything around me seemed kinda and friendly. Now Slavonic revealed its fangs, getting ready to eat me. And ahead, the unknown. My body was covered in goosebumps, my throat was dry, and my hands were shaking. I tried to ignore it all and headed back to the camp. It was already dinner time, but I had no desire to go to the canteen. After meeting the second mysterious pioneer, just thinking about the locals made me, if not afraid, then at least creeped out. I don't even know who or what they all are, and even though nothing has happened yet, it does not mean I can trust them. I stopped in front of the clubhouse, but then realized that this is not the best spot to be at. I could run into someone, which was not something I wanted to do at the moment. Almost running, I hurried towards the forest and walked a few meters along the path before finally stopping. On one side, the mysterious pioneer. Well, two of them to be precise. On the other, all the other inhabitants of this camp who seemed absolutely normal. Either way, my decision to stand back and let everything resolve itself was under some serious pressure. At this point, it was clear to me I had to do something on my own. But what exactly? Everyone is probably having dinner, or so I have a good chance to make it to Olga's place without being noticed. Decided to first take my clothes that I wore when I arrived here along with my cell phone. I won't be able to come up with a solid plan right off the bat, so for the time being I might as well hide in the forest. I leapt up with the steps and entered the building. My clothes were right where I left them and my phone was where it was supposed to be, under my pillow. I quickly grabbed it and was ready to stuff it into my pocket, but then I noticed something on the screen. Message window was open. The text read, "You're wrong, Simon. You were so wrong." It felt like my soul had left my body. Froze on the spot. I was shaking and my blood was pumping so hard it felt like my skull was going to burst open from the pressure. It took at least a full minute for me to come back to senses. Olga could have typed in the message, or one of the pioneers. It's easy to figure out how to do it, even if they are not familiar with this technology. But no one besides me should know where I keep my phone. This event was the straw that broke the camel's back. I rushed out of the house, determined never to come back here. What about waifu? Night fell onto the campgrounds. I'd been sitting in the woods for a few hours, trembling at every noise. The spot that I chose was far away from the path, so it would be hard to find me. I was keeping a few plans in my head for the time being, to try and run to kill every single person in the camp. However, on the other hand, one thought chased me, and I realized that I shouldn't behave like this because of some strange pioneer, or even because of that message on the phone. All of this was reinforcing the thought that everything happened here was far from normal. However, there was no proof that anyone in the camp had anything to do with it. I could have stayed here until morning, lost in my own thoughts, but I heard footsteps coming from somewhere nearby. Hey, he's gonna kill me, so you decided to escape after all. I turned around. Is the music creepy? Yup. Don't kill me, brah. I turned around but couldn't see the pioneer's face in the dark. Nevertheless, I was pretty sure that it was him. I wasn't afraid then. More precisely. I'm afraid. I don't like the music. I don't want a random jump scare to pop out. I didn't know I was gonna play a horror game. Just kidding. But then again, visual novels are known to mess with the mind, and you can get there's actually worse, probably visual novel games than this that can mess with your mind pretty badly. Which I'd rather not. More precisely, I was so physically exhausted that I was prepared for any possible course of events and somehow managed to reason appropriately and to maintain the conversation. I wouldn't call this an escape, he answered slowly, stretching every word. Then what is it? A tactical retreat. Oh shit, his voice, his smile. I'm brilliant. Don't eat me. He burst into laughter. Listen, why don't you tell me what's going on? Who are you and what you want from me? What did that guy tell you at the gate? It seemed that he didn't even hear my question. Told me not to trust you. I lied. But on the other hand, I thought that is what he meant. Well, that's always the way for him, running away, hiding. Could hear irritation in his voice. I'm not sure what kind of circus you are running here, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Oh, why not? You're the star, after all. Couldn't see his face, but I bet he was smiling. Yeah, smiling. Explain my part to me then. You know, I was like you in the beginning. The first time everything went peacefully. Then I escaped. I tried to understand what was going on, got mad, and even tortured them to get the truth. Who'd you torture? He laughed crazily. I shivered. I'm shivering. But it was pointless. Continued the pioneer after calming down a bit. Pointless. And then I began to notice the lapses. At first, I just heard their voices from a distance and sometimes in my head. Then vague silhouettes appeared. Then they slowly took on a physical form. And finally, they stepped into my world. I could touch them, introduce them to other pioneers. They all were different. Different. Do you get it? Different. He started shouting. And it recurred again and again. You can get used to the loops, but then I learned how to get into their worlds by myself to interact with the others. But it turned out that I'm not alone. There are lots of us. Today, you saw at least one more. He fell silent. I didn't know what question to ask and didn't want to interrupt his story, so I simply waited. After a minute, he continued. It's not that simple, of course. And it's not always possible. Only under certain circumstances. When you feel strong emotions, for example. I instantly remembered how I saw him the first time, the time when I didn't feel any emotions at all. Including the moments when you feel happy. As if he was reading my thoughts. I see. So you're trying to say that there are several parallel worlds, including the same camp with its inhabitants, where I am replaced by you or that guy I met at the bus stop. Yeah, something like that. Now we're getting complicated. What did you say? Parallel worlds, huh? Great, that's fun. I thought I wasn't supposed to meet myself. Isn't that some kind of bad changing interaction thing? His answer didn't surprise me at all. In the end, it's clear that whatever happens here is beyond the limits of humans' understanding, and this theory didn't even seem all that unusual. But you said that everything recurs. Yes, it recurs. And what will happen afterwards? You'll start from the very beginning. You wake in the bus, come to the camp, meet Olga, the girl's electronic, but if it happened to you, then why should it happen to me as well? It happens to everyone. Once again, he laughed hysterically. And how many loops have you experienced so far? I stopped counting them already. At first, I tried to remember them, though. Maybe a few hundred. No wonder it was very clear to me that this guy was suffering from a progressing mental dysfunction. But you searched for a way out, didn't you? He didn't answer. That's what the guy at the bus stop was talking about. Because he understands nothing, damn it. He shouted, because he's just like you, constantly running away and hiding. What would you suggest then? If I had any suggestions, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. Alright, but you were trying, weren't you? Are you trying to understand what I know since I've been around here for a long time? He asked cheerfully. Well, that's evident. Yes, I did try to run away from here. There. He waved towards the forest. There's nothing there. Nothing but trees. When I had been walking here for several days and finally passed out, I found myself in the bus again. Oh, it sounds like Groundhog Day. Like, you start over. Same for the walking along the road, it's endless. Talking to somebody about that is pointless. You probably already understand that by yourself, I interjected. Even if you try to explain your situation directly, at best you just be considered an idiot. What if you try not to leave the bus? It's pointless. Sooner or later you'll be found. I even tried to spend the entire time there. In the end I fell asleep. Everything started from the beginning. What if you started by yourself and leave? No keys. And I don't have any carjacking skills. The cursed cycle. Exactly. A long silence fell. Finally I asked, what about the people around here? Don't they raise absolutely reasonable suspicions? Suspicions? Laughter again. The only thing that is suspicious about them is that no matter how much you tell them, they stare at you with their eyes out on stalks. The people? I feared them at first too. Then I used them for different experiments. What the frick? You mean you started experimenting? Why? Like, now I don't consider them humans. They're all dolls, puppets. Like, are you talking about you experimented with them in a social way, or did you actually experiment with them in a different kind of way? You know what I mean? You can easily predict any reaction, any word or action. So they aren't worth fearing, are they? The one worth fearing is yourself, he said softly. Do you know how funny it is when human bones crack as they slowly break from distension? Looks like he has finally lost his marbles. Listen, I understand everything, but the other one thinks that it's a bit too much. But it doesn't matter. Nobody but you is real here. Pioneer suddenly fell silent. Well, no, I don't agree with you. You're probably thinking why I didn't check this all by myself, aren't you? Why I didn't try to reach the nearest village or town. Yes, I did. I have such thoughts. Why wasn't I suspicious? Why was I doing different stuff instead of searching for answers? Well, yes, forget about it. That's normal. We all behave like this for the first time here. But how many others have you seen so far? Not that many. The pioneer was lost in thought. About 10 people, maybe. But I'm sure there are many more of them. And is everyone like this? In fact, yes. Only the details are different, but the main thing is invariable. There's no way out of here. And by the way, you're just like the majority of them. The only thing that differs is that you have heard everything from me instead of experiencing it for yourself. I don't know if I should thank him for that. Well, and what now? Nothing, he said shortly. Closed my eyes and lost myself in thought. That was a critical mistake. When I opened my eyes, I didn't see anybody, just like the previous times. So it's clear what's going on now, but in fact how could everything he said guide me to an answer? Yes, I'm not alone, yes, everything recurs, but what's the reason for all of this? And what is more important, where's the way out? The only useful thing that I extracted from the conversation was that the local inhabitants were not worth fearing. And that was quite significant to me for now, since it was much better to sleep in a warm cabin instead of the forest. I sighed, took my things, and headed towards the camp. As I was walking, the conversation with my fellow sufferer popped up in my mind every now and then. Why did I not ask him about the message on my phone and some other stuff? There were hints after all. So, by the way this game sounds like, it sounds like, I guess, certain people get stuck in the camp, and there's like parallel universes and different things, and I don't know, if it's you and that's the same person as you, then maybe that's a version where he got stuck in a loop, and then the other version is me being scared of everything or whatever. I don't know. I can't tell if it's all different people or if it's the same person. But anywho. This would be interesting for a game theory. I'm already theorizing. I don't know how good I am at stuff like that, but I have gotten some of my theories right, which that makes me feel good. But anywho. Maybe if I had some details, I could have drawn some conclusions. However, it didn't seem like our meeting would be the last one. The lights were on in Olga's cabin. I opened the door gently and went in. Speak of the devil, here you are, the camp leader said angrily. Olga, I'm so tired now, so let's put off the lecture. Tired from what, I wonder? From everything, I snapped rudely. The camp leader looked at me with surprise. I fell into bed without undressing. Simon, a role model pioneer, shouldn't behave like that. And how should he behave then? Well, not like that. The camp leader stumbled for a moment as if struggling to pick the right words. He should respect his seniors. I respect you immensely for sure. Simon, the sarcasm in my voice didn't go unnoticed. And now I'd like to sleep. Wait, by the way, how far is the nearest town? When does the bus arrive? How can I even get out of here? I asked in a surprisingly calm voice. Oh, well, I didn't sound calm. I was pissed. There was no answer and there shouldn't have been any. I saw all this just in order to get rid of her. Why are you silent? I'm tired. Let's talk about that tomorrow. The camp leader got up and turned off the light. Yes, it's just all like that guy said. Why did he speak to him so calmly and properly, I wonder? Should have been shivering from horror. That pioneer didn't have much credibility, but I had a feeling that he's unable to harm me. As soon as I thought that it would be a good idea to ask something else, fatigue overtook me and I passed out. Day 7! The bright sunlight was striking my eyes, even through my eyelids. I stretched out lazily and quickly got myself out of the bed. It was 2 p.m. Looks like yesterday really finished me off and my body required much more time to recover than usual. I had to stroll around the room thinking of what I should do today. Obviously, my life in the camp would never be the same again after everything that I heard from that strange pioneer. And if everything's just as he said, I have plenty of time ahead. I grabbed my hygiene kit and went outside. I managed to take only a couple of steps as somebody ran into my back. Turned around and saw Alyssa. Hey, be careful, said she indifferently and ran on her way. She held some kind of bag in her hands. Whatever, yet another ordinary day in this crazy place. I finished brushing my teeth and then spent an eternity washing my face with ice cold water to bring myself to my senses and refresh my head at least a bit. Felt a bit better after that. Suddenly, hope struck me from nowhere. Wasn't hope that I'd be likely to leave this place safely. Rather, I just didn't want to believe that everything is as bad as that guy told me. Good morning. Go away! I heard a faint voice coming from the woods. Someone stood behind a tree. Morning. Are you ready? Ready for what? I looked again and it seemed like it was the pioneer from the bus stop yesterday. Indeed, I was prepared for such a weirdness today, so I wasn't really surprised and started this conversation quite clear-headed. You didn't believe him, did you? What are you talking about? Everything that he said. Alright, but what is your opinion on what is happening? I already distanced myself from the outside world and decided to treat everything happening to me just like a fictional film, not reality. Hopefully it would give me more room to move around in terms of situational logic analysis. There's an exit. There has to be. He said excitedly. I don't know, but I'd like to believe that too. If you just, Simon. Damn, that's a nice outfit. I turned around. Savalia was standing right next to me. Who are you talking to? No one. Just talking to myself. I hardly think it's worth telling her about aliens from parallel worlds. She probably can't even see them anyway. Are you prepared already? Prepared for another hike? No. Today's the last day of the session. What? Stupid smile settled on my face. There will be a bus this evening. We're leaving. Holy cow. I was ready for even the most incredible twists, but... Was this what that mysterious pioneer was talking about? Probably it was. Well, apparently I'll have to go for a second lap and live yet another week in this camp. But this time I know everything. I haven't packed yet. It's not like I have much to pack anyway. Okay. Slavalia shifted her gaze. Seemed like she wanted to say something but hesitated. Well, see you then. Yeah. I had to ask when we were leaving at least. I went to the square with the intention of discovering that. There's gotta be someone I know there. But believe it or not, there was only Ginda waiting for me at the square. Probably all the pioneers are busy with packing. Took a seat on a bench and just stared at the sky. It turns out that today I just have to wait for the departure, pass out on the bus, and wake up in the camp again just like the first day. Everything was drowning in silence. It's exactly the time of summer day when the sun seems to stuck in the sky, the birds and crickets have gone for and after lunch does, and the wind is saving its energy to deliver long-awaited coolness to people in the evening. Suddenly crossed my mind that I haven't missed lunch, but I haven't had breakfast either. It was ridiculous to search for anything in the canteen. The pioneers had surely cleaned up everything just before the departure. I scratched my head and made my way to Olga's cabin. Surely there should be something edible on the table's door. Someone called for me just as I approached the door. Shuriken and Electronic swiftly approached the cabin. Are you already packed up? Already packed up, I answered it, imitating him. You haven't quite been yourself the last few days. What makes you say that? How should I know? You know better. I mean, why are you so concerned? No reason. The real pioneer always treats a comrade's problems as his own. I cast a skeptical look at him. Thanks for your concern. I'm fine. There actually was half a loaf of stale bread and a piece of smoked sausage in the drawer. I ate everything with deliberate pleasure, washing it down with the smelly water that Olga probably used to water the plants. Why would you do that? Just as I finished, someone started knocking on the door. Come in. Liliana rushed into the room. Oh, it's just you, she said disappointedly. Who did you expect to see? A circus complete with bears? Liliana giggled. Where's Olga? Don't know. I shrugged. Why not? I don't know, because I don't know. What do you want from her anyway? Got to ask something before the departure. Okay, I'll tell her that you were searching for her if I see her. By the way, why aren't you packing up? Like I have much to pack. Well, I'll see you. She cracked a sly smile and bounded out of the cabin, slamming the door behind her. Still, it's really strange that somebody seems to be puzzled by the sudden departure. And why am I the only one who was not expecting it? Like everyone really cares if I've packed my things up. As well as that, doesn't anyone care that this is the last time we're seeing each other? The words of that guy in the forest yesterday about all the camp attendants being unreal suddenly sprang into my mind. Well, right now I'm more ready to believe it than ever. The desk drawer where I found my breakfast contained lots of odds and ends. Grabbed a pencil and a piece of paper, examined them for some time, and then slipped them into my pocket. Just in case. I had no intention of watching over all the pioneers running around and packing, so I just lay on my bed and didn't even notice how I dazed off. It was somebody's voice that woke me up. Why are you in my room? Go away! Familiar pioneer was sitting directly opposite with his back to me. Gotten used to him a bit yesterday, and it even seemed that I stopped fearing him. Hey, why do you always hide your face? Because you shouldn't see it, if you say so. I wasn't in a it's probably me. That's why you're not supposed to meet yourself. I wasn't in a position to argue. So, what are you going to reveal this time? You already know that this is the last day of the session, don't you? Yep. And you already spoken with that one? Yep. So what did he tell you? Nothing special. He said that there's an exit out of here. Pioneer burst into laughter. Yeah, I'd believe that 2 ages ago and now. And what is now? I have my past, my life back then. He stopped talking for some time. Anyway, it was all a long while ago, so I don't really remember. The future's all the same. Loops, 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 repetitions of the same story. Where is this now? Well, I have to say it, but I'm not yet as lost in times as you are. Oh, that's nothing. That'll come with time. He broke into diabolical laughter. There's just one thing I don't understand. What's your reason for coming to me? What do you expect to achieve? Me? Nothing, really. So, why did you come then? It's just because you, him, and others like us are the only real people around here. Given everything he said to me already, I just wasn't ready to believe that all the local tenants are just puppets in some kind of hellish stage play. I actually died in the bus crash. Now it's like purgatory or something like that. I'm not in heaven or hell, so I'm in judgment right now. Are you sure that you're right? Right about what? Well, that you're right about everything. Can't be right or wrong. I didn't choose this world. I didn't throw myself into it. I'm just here, and you're just here. Listen, I've already got a headache from your philosophy. I was kind of puzzled myself as why I was so calm talking to this mysterious pioneer. Well, here it is right in front of me, all the fantasy and devilry that's happened in this camp. Here it is, an explanation, at least a partial one, for how I got here. Here they are, the answers I've searched for such a long time. On the other hand, my behavior is quite logical. Well, I couldn't quite explain what was happening. This cuckoo guy just talked and talked, but it's not like his words changed anything. Then what's the point of listening to him? Oh no, will soon understand everything yourself. Somebody was knocking at the door. I got up to open it. It was Slavia on the doorstep. You came to see Olga. No. Come in then. I was 100% sure that the pioneer had already disappeared. Turns out I was right. Slavia took a seat on the bed and I snuggled against the wardrobe in the far corner of the room. She was distinctively nervous. Did something happen? Not really, it's just today's the last day. Well, I'm already aware, better late than never. Well, so I thought. I mean, we probably won't see each other ever again. It's a small world, as they say. But maybe you would give me your address to write letters. I would have if I only knew it myself. You know, let's do it the other way around. You give me your address and I'll definitely write you upon arrival. Well, why don't you want to give out yours? Well, we're just about to move, so you never know. It's better if I write to you. Try to put out on my cutest smile to make my story look more credible. Okay, it's fine then. Sylvia got up and seemed to be leaving. Hey, wait, what about the address? Let's do it later. An expression of sorrow and disappointment crossed her face. She shut the door and then heard the spiteful voice of the pioneer from behind. Well, happy now you've hurt a girl. What have I hurt her with? What should I have said to her, my dear, right to my dear granny in the village? Or should I have left her the address of a house that's probably not even built yet? So what? Am I not my brother's keeper? It's your world, not mine. I'll manage somehow on my own. The last phrase really made me squirm. You know what? I didn't manage to finish the phrase. Someone was knocking at the door again. Come in! Liliana flew into the cabin. Why the rush, my lady? Made an excessively showy bow. Me, I'm just... Her eyes started about cautiously and her cheeks were blushed. Just wanted to say goodbye. There'll be time for that anyway. After all, we'll all be going on the same bus. Yeah, you're right, but it's kind of embarrassing in front of everybody. Oh, so there is something that you can be embarrassed by. I laughed. She pouted. Just wanted to tell you that you aren't a douche, really. In fact, you're almost a cool guy. Her words astonished me. Well, thanks. You're good to hang out with, too. Well, that's that. She rushed outside, slamming the door loudly. Hey, didn't expect that from her. Did you? Got nothing to do with that, what I told you. Really looks like you knew what she will say. Maybe I did, maybe not. You just came here to mock me. Started to lose my temper. That idea had also crossed my mind. Then why the hell are you hanging around here? If I ever need a man to comment on all my action, I'll hire a professional psychologist. You think that after all this time I don't qualify as one? My estimation is that after all the time here, you've definitely gone bananas. All psychologists are freaks. Yes, but not all freaks are psychologists. He laughed out loud. A sense of humor. How encouraging. Frankly, your jokes are fairly lame. Who are you laughing at, yourself? Listen, if you got nothing to do in your own world, go and bug that second one. And have you got anything to do in your world? Pioneer sharply countered. You know, I'll find out what to do. I'll pack up my things, leave this camp, and then what? Then what? Like, I know. I've never been in a situation before, believe it or not. It's just that you've forgotten that you won't be able to leave the camp. Yeah, he was right on this matter, probably. Just because he failed to do so, that doesn't mean that I will fail to. You're the boss. There was knocking at the door, so quiet that I barely heard it. Damn, who else is it? Hissed I under my breath and shouted, "Come in!" But the door didn't open. So I pulled the handle myself. Oh, poor Lena. Lena was on the doorstep. It looks like I really scared her. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. You came to see Olga. No, she said, staring at the ground. So what is it then? What did Lena want from me? Come in. She came in and hesitated in the middle of the room. Want to take a seat? Pointed at one of the beds. Lena hesitated a bit more, but nevertheless took a seat. Did something happen? No, not at all. It's just... She threw a quick glance at me, but blushed at once and looked away. Here. Lena took something out of her pocket and handed it to me. I was stunned. It was my phone. But where did you get it from? I found it in the forest. Okay, but why do you think it's mine? Some boy told me so. Have you ever seen him before? I don't know. I couldn't see his face, but he was dressed in a pioneer uniform. Everything was clear at once. And don't you wonder what it is? I looked at the screen. There still wasn't some battery left. Therefore, the cell phone shouldn't just look like a piece of plastic to Lena. I don't know, some kind of game. Yeah, you're right. I quickly opened Snake in the menu and handed the phone to her. Here you go, a keepsake. Oh, what are you doing? I can't. Lena waved her hands at me. Take it, I have loads of these at home. She resisted a bit more, but finally she took the device. And what do I do with it? Press the keys to move left and right. You've got to eat these pellets and keep from hitting your own towel. Wow, it's so interesting, she smiled. Thank you, and yet I have nothing for you. It's so embarrassing. I don't need anything, thanks. No, that's not good, she said with a voice that sounded more confident than usual. It's the last day after all. Yeah. I hope we'll meet again. I think we will. Then I have a present for you. And what is it? Close your eyes. She gonna kiss me? I did so. Promise that you won't open them until I tell you. Is she gonna kiss me? Please tell me she's gonna kiss me. No, you have to promise. Alright, I promise. In a moment, I felt a light kiss on my cheek. Dang it. It's just a kiss on the cheek. I want a kiss on the lips. I was really eager to open my eyes, but I promised. Open. The room was empty. What a girl. The only thing I managed to say. So how does it feel, stud? Heard malicious laughter from the place where Elena had just been sitting. So that's your new way of pranking me, eh? Using the others? Me ain't pranking, God forbid. Indeed, you got a kiss from a sweet girl thanks to me on the cheek, but anyway. I really wanted to beat him up at that moment, but I wasn't even sure that he's a physical being here. Presume that this prank wasn't your last one, I said calmer. Who knows, who knows. Isn't it fun? Pioneer laughed harder. Perhaps Professor Morteri laughed like that, anticipating the success of his diabolical plan. You're certainly having fun, but I'm not. Relax, dude. There's almost nothing left, and here you go, your second lap. After you do a dozen, then you'll earn a pit stop. Although you probably won't need me then, you'll figure out everything yourself. It's not like I need you right now either. Oh, what ingratitude. Just cut it out. If you'd ever. Just shut up already. No understanding. Shut your damned mouth! He screamed so loud that the walls trembled. Front door suddenly burst open and Alyssa came in. Is it just me, or has somebody gone completely nutty nuts? She asked with fright. Well, you could say so, I answered angrily. Why are you yelling? Because I want to. I've already realized that the accidental arrival of Alyssa was either planned by this pioneer or would be commented on by him in a manner that I'd sooner drive a pair of nails into my ears than have to hear. Have you gone psycho or something? Alyssa reclined on a bed in a laid-back manner. To what do I own the honor? Came just for the sake of it, and you're just here screaming. You aren't doing anything just for the sake of it. Got nothing to do, I've packed my stuff and it's boring. Well. If you think that I came to you because... She threw an angry glance at me and turned away. I really shouldn't have come after that. After what? I haven't said a word. Of course you thought it instead. Oh, so you can read minds now. There's no need to read your mind. It's written all over your face. It was hardly possible to read anything on my face besides fatigue and anger. And what have you read there? That's none of your business. Well, it's not like I'm holding you here. Forget it. I'll go wherever I please. Don't boss me around. Okay, stay here then for God's sake. Anyway, I liked Alyssa's company was much more than the pioneers. Lay back and closed my eyes. It took Alyssa a few minutes to break the silence. You really don't want to tell me anything. For example, today's the last day after all. So you're happy? Well, she babbled uncertainly. Everyone's leaving. Good riddance. And that's all? You need something else? Didn't you like it here? Her voice sounded unusual. I've seen better places. Damn you, you're so dumb that speaking to you is a complete waste of time. She got up and headed to the exit. Yep, good luck to you too. Melissa turned to me. Her face was writhing with anger. Couldn't you at least have said that you'll miss me? Sure I will, wimp. Bye. She slammed the door loudly. Stupid. Melissa didn't hear my last line, of course. What a wayward chick, huh? As good as you are. And you in that case, of course, keep comparing me to yourself. Marked mischievously. What's the difference? We're in the same situation. I've just been here a little longer. Well, in fact, a lot longer. And you've already gone completely nuts. No wonder. His hoarse laughter was really pissing me off. Listen, I've already told you that you should be an actor. You do a brilliant Hannibal Lecter. Especially since you consider yourself a psychiatrist. I'll think about it. Well, now, I must go. Maybe I'll see you again. Get lost. Turned to look at him, but the pioneer had already disappeared. Oh, finally. Nevertheless, why did he come? It might be the case that me, him, and the others like us are the only real people around here, but I desperately didn't want to believe that. Well, his speech seemed like some sort of complex game, like he's trying to give me one hint after the other, trying to lead me to something, enabling me to discover some kind of devious plot. Too bad he's not really successful at that because I'm out of ideas. Time dragged on decidedly slowly, but it's 5 p.m. already. It's common during this summer if one counts the seconds and minutes. It appears that even a single hour would never end, but if one thinks of anything else, then the whole day flies by quickly. I decided to start packing. They could leave without me. I quickly took all my winter stuff and shoved it into a bag. I was about to jump onto the bed again, but the door opened and Olga came in. Oh, I see you're packed already. That's great, let's go. I got up reluctantly, grabbed my simple luggage, and followed her. Really don't care what will happen next. I had long suspected that was nothing up to me in this world, and recent events had reinforced my complete confidence in this. Might wake up tomorrow on a bus number 410, or I might not wake up at all. That's all, folks. It's all that simple. There's no point in staying here. There's nowhere to run. Basically, my only exit is to leave on the bus with everyone else. Go into the unknown. It's all I've been doing for the last week, stumbling along a narrow path in pitch black darkness, unsure where is the beginning and where is the end. We were almost approaching the gates when I heard someone calling my name. Simon! Simon! Olga! Excuse me just a minute. Okay, but make it fast or we'll leave without you. Headed for the bushes that the voice came from. Simon! Simon! Waded through the thick greenery and came onto a forest path. The voice seemed to be calling from nowhere one moment, but was heard behind a tree. Now it seems to be behind my back. Probably it's one of those aliens from the parallel worlds, but I suspect that I haven't met this exact one before. You don't have much time. I'm listening. Know that you've already been contacted by him and him. Yeah? And I know what they told you. Don't ask me how. Okay. But you must know one thing, the thing I know. There's more than a dozen of us here, in fact, more than 1,000. Wow, mother blip, 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 that's a lot. But a lot of people got out. I tried to digest what he said and phrase the right questions. Then why are you here? I stayed. Why? To help the others to find an exit. Wow, how generous. Why should I trust you? You're the third one already. Well, in fact, I'm not even sure that you all aren't just my hallucination. It's not about trust. Then what is it about? It's about the right choice. Consider this camp to be a giant maze. You should take a few right turns and to find an exit. Okay, and how do I know which ones are right? You will know. Come with me. Where to? To the second lap. Hold on a second. That pioneer said that my second lap will start tomorrow. He lied. The speaker raised his voice.
He's gone completely crazy and he's trying to destroy all the others. So if I don't go with you, leave on the bus, then I'll be destroyed, right? I don't know. Then why do you say so? Nobody ever returned after a conversation with him. Listen, why should I trust you? I was definitely on the edge. Well, that pioneer just mocked me and didn't seem to be a real danger. This one clearly spoke about things worth being anxious about. Couldn't decide which one should I trust. This problem is like trying to get a blind man to say whether the light in the room is on or off. He can only guess, just like me. Hurry up, time is running out. Hey, wait a second. Make a choice, are you coming or not? Dude, I'm getting on the mother bus because if I go to you, I'm sure I'm never coming out. Like, I'm gonna save just to make sure. But, and actually, my recording thing can only record for so long. I'm a little worried. I might have to, like, this might be like a part 1 of, like, the second part, and it's gonna have, like, 15 minutes or something. But, anywho, I'm not following you. Because if I follow you, I feel like I'm probably not gonna ever get out. Like, I'm probably gonna be stuck here forever. And I'm gonna be stuck in the forest, and then it automatically, like, loops. So, no, I don't want to follow you. I don't trust you. I feel like you're lying to me. You just want me to stay. I feel like if I get on the bus, I will actually leave. And I let go of everything. Like, I feel like I'm letting go of the camp. Or whatever. Do not follow the voice. I'm not following you. No, you know what? I can't just believe you in only a couple of minutes. At least I know the other guy for a little longer and his arguments seem to be more weighty. You'll be sorry. Those words sounded like they were coming from another world. The voice seemed to disappear. Of course, I couldn't be sure whether my choice was right or wrong. It was a blind guess enforced by a time limit. Nevertheless, whether I'm right or not, we'll find out soon. In a couple of minutes, I was standing at the bus with all the other pioneers. Everybody's here, began Olga. We're leaving our camp today, and I'd like to tell you something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I hope that you'll remember the time you spent here for a lifetime, and that you'll retain only pleasant memories about Savonnak, or whatever. I also hope that you became at least a little bit better, managed to learn something, and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader looked away. It's like she was trying to keep the tears inside. I didn't expect her to get so emotional, although her speech sounded like a complete nonsense to me as usual. Pioneers started to crowd into the bus, babbling cheerfully. I decided to hold on a little and say a proper goodbye to this camp. All of a sudden I felt a deep urge to throw a coin. Of course there's no fountain here, and honestly I didn't feel like returning it, but it's still just superstition and I don't believe in them. At least I never believed in them before. Digging through my pockets, I found only a couple of candy wrappers, a pencil, and a scrap of paper. Had them for a moment, then I squatted, put the paper on the ground, and scribbled a few words. You are here for a reason. Grinning at my stupidity, I threw the scrap under the wheels of the bus and got into the cabin. I found a place in the middle. But the strangest thing was that everyone sat in pairs and only I was alone. However, what's the difference now? I'll either disappear or we'll restart everything in a couple of hours. The bus was slowly moving towards the distinct center, occasionally bouncing over the bumps in the road. It was impossible to see anything beyond the old windows in the pitch black dark of the night. Anyway, I couldn't care less about the surroundings countryside. I just sat and waited for the inevitable. For the first time in a long while, my head was completely empty. Pioneers around me enjoyed the trip. Uliana and Alyssa were playing cards. Lena was reading a book, and Sylvia was sleeping. Mika was trying in vain to start a conversation with Xena, and Xena was trying really hard not to start killing people. Letronik and Shirk were crafting something as always. I was the only one completely ignored by everyone. It might be a slightly far-fetched perception. I got used to the role of being the center of the universe in the camp. I thought that everything revolved around me. Well, that might be so up to a certain degree, but here and now I'm only a foreign object and out-of-place molecule in the harmonic pattern of a crystal grid. I'm not sure how we spent on the road, but sleep had already started to overcome me. I was desperately fighting Morpheus, trying to stay awake as long as I could. After all, it's quite possible that today is the last day of my life. Then probably it's reasonable to cling as hard as I could to these few hours of meaningless, useless existence. However, physical fatigue and, more importantly, emotional fatigue took its toll and I fell asleep. Day, ... Am I stuck or did I make the right decision and I'm free? Anywho, I don't know. Sharp pain throbbed through my entire body. I felt it especially sharply in my temples. Feels like they're ready to shatter in 1,000 little pieces, giving the wind free access to my empty head. Probably I would not have been able to stand even 15 minutes of such torture if I hadn't opened my eyes in time. I was somewhere, it was impossible to tell precisely where. My mind was cloudy as to mist, my thoughts were confused, the moment between the unconsciousness and conscious states wherein you vividly remember your dreams. Nah, she's cute. I don't know who she is. I was going somewhere by bus and was about to doze off when suddenly a girl came up to me and began to speak quickly. Couldn't understand a word, but the girl looked very upset. Failed to understand what she needed from me. Time passed and she kept talking on and on. It was getting really annoying. I wanted to ask her to cut it out, at least calm down a bit, but I failed either because I didn't manage to say anything or because my words didn't reach her. I couldn't even see her face. I was simply listening and staring and staring and listening. Perhaps it was important for me then. Surely you would not try to remember what a mosquito disturbing your sleep looks like. Surely you wouldn't manage to recall the frequency of its flapping wings or the inclination of its proboscis after that. And this girl is just one of millions of voices that disturb you from concentrating, from thinking, from falling asleep. The louder her voice grew, the harder it got for me to catch her words. The bus cabin, the seats worn by time, the uneven floor, the rusty ceiling, the cracked glass of the windscreen, everything was floating away, along with her. Then I felt a unique sense of relief. Didn't matter how real the bus and the girl has been, it was nothing but a bug to me. And here I am hanging in total emptiness and falling inside a dream. Wow, dreams can really be something. Oh, I guess I'm back home now. Not quite a nightmare yet, definitely not something pleasant. I got up, rubbed my face to get back to reality, gave a loud yawn and prepared to clean myself up. It was a really great morning. Unable to find my hygiene kit on the nightstand, I concluded that I could manage without it. Started to get dressed, my hands were trembling like hell. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and checked out my 2-week stubble. Well, perhaps Olga has a razor. It was only when I went outside that I suddenly understood that I'm not in a pioneer camp. I'm back in my apartment. Now I just come out of my room in a passageway, not out of the cabin. I was overwhelmed with surprise, with dismay, with fear, even with terror, but how? I sat down on the bed and buried my face into my hands, trying to remember the chain of yesterday's events. Yeah, the bus, the last day of the term. Yeah, I fell asleep and woke up back home. Well, to some degree, it might have even seemed quite logical. It seemed that the initial astonishment has worn off during the first few seconds. After all, that fact that I came back like this after a week-long absence is no stranger than my sudden appearance at some pioneer camp of the 80s in the first place. The events of the last 2 days flashed before my eyes in an instant. That mysterious pioneer, his words. But how did I manage to get back to reality then? According to him, I was going to be stuck there forever and there's no exit. On the other hand, I wasn't alone. Pioneer at the bus stop and the mysterious voice emphasized the contrary, that the exit exists. Does that mean I found it? I managed to get out of the endless loop? But how? Nevertheless, I wasn't sure whether I should rejoice or grieve. Over the last week, I'd gotten used to the everlasting inner monologue, the search for answers, and the in-depth analysis of everything, so I simply couldn't accept this fact as it was without figuring out what exactly happened to me. Sure, he told me that I'm the only one who has observed the existence of other guys like me during their very first loop, but does that mean anything? Anyway, all these theories and ideas instantly collapsed like a house of cards. Now I had to decide how I should react. course I should rejoice. After all, I'm back to the real world. Maybe the last 7 days were just a dream. Indeed, there's absolutely no evidence that I was really there. I don't see my pioneer uniform. I look at my age just like I did before. My phone is on the table, fully charged. But one can't deceive one's own memory. One can't live through such terrifically real experiences in a dream. I still remember the events of the whole week in great detail. Perhaps I was in a coma all this time. An ironic laugh escaped my lips. Nah, that's not an option either. Then, all's well that ends well. The last few hours in the camp flashed through my mind. Indeed, I was hoping to get out, either from the camp or from that reality, and I was pretty much ready to another week, and another one. I accept my role, I reconciled with my destiny, and what was I supposed to do after all that stuff that happened? I heaved a doomed sigh, got up from my bed with considerable effort, and went to my computer. That's weird, but according to it, only 14 hours have passed since my disappearance from this world, not a whole week. New message in the instant messenger. Hi Simon, yesterday it was legendary. Later, my college friend, it was him who invited me to the party with the rest of his college friends that I was going to attend to. Suddenly all my senses came back to me, the headache, the dizziness, all the symptoms of a hangover. Looks like I indeed attended that party yesterday and I was partying hard, so there was no pioneer camper, but then where memories, emotions, and feelings come from? All of this was incomprehensible that I became enraged. I began cursing foully, trying to tear my hair out and hammering on the keyboard with my fists. I didn't return to a normal state until there were no keys left on it. Why should I care so much? Nobody worries when a dream or hallucination ends. Moreover, people are usually glad that it happens. Was I really that prepared to stay there that my return to reality became so undesirable for me? And then a simple, obvious thought crossed my mind. Perhaps I'm just going insane. Indeed, madmen frequently have visions which they perceive as reality. Had all symptoms of insanity. I never leave the four walls of my prison. I never socialize. I have lots of psychological problems. Well, that explains a lot. My dark, nervous laughter echoed in the room. Guess it's the right time for me to visit a therapist, or rather a psychiatrist, or should I just surrender myself at the asylum? Simon, a horse, half my kingdom for a horse. I cried at the top of my lungs between bouts of my manic laughter. Dispute not with her, she is a lunatic. The racket of my neighbor's maid on the wall calmed me down somehow. If I'm tripping with that bad, it looks like it's only a Looney kid to help me. I just sat completely freaked out for several hours, doing nothing, thinking nothing, just staring at the monitor, long since gone into sleep mode. Finally, I moved the mouse and opened a few tabs in the browser. So, what's new? F5. As if the events of the past week had never happened. Come on. Do you have to grieve for a hallucination? Was it real? Sure, it looks true enough, but by all means, yes. Any proof? Nope. The verdict is clear. As in my future course, I have suspected that my current lifestyle wasn't doing me any good. I was ready for such an unusual event, but so what? I'll have to be more prepared for my next trip. Like an endless stream of threads and oh my gosh, I'm wondering when this game is gonna end because I'm sorry guys. I'm gonna have to cut the video right here for now. The next video is probably gonna be really short. This video is really long. I'm sorry. I'm trying to finish the game to the best of my ability, but I already know how my recorder works, and my recorder cuts off like around 50 something minutes, so I'll continue on the next segment. I guess the next part's gonna be part 15, but it's still like continuing off of this, so I'm sorry guys, but I'll be back. It won't be long.